Today's meditation empowerment class, we're going to discuss something that's always been so subtle, and yet it's the most important fact of human existence in all eternity. I'll get right into it. The thing is, every spiritual person who's ever had a great vision, a spiritual illumination, whatever you want to call these things, in the first few moments of it, you'll see that the world need not be. But because it becomes so vast, so wondrous, so all-encompassing, and you see that there is a God that transcends everything of human experience in the first millisecond of the spiritual experience. It's like falling in love. You forget everything else. Imagine falling in love with eternity, and that's what illumination is, or spiritual experiences are. And if you're not too familiar with yourself, everyone has had these at different points in their life. I'm just saying you can discuss this with a spiritual friend, and they'll all say the same thing. It has nothing to do with everyday experience. You'll understand the things of the East, that the world is an illusion, because this experience of God involves infinity and is God. And the day-to-day experience of human beings, the ordinariness of it, is like an incredibly bad drama, a bad dream. And getting back to our original point of today's message, and we'll carry it into many other areas, is the fact that every human being who had a spiritual experience from the beginning of time, and this gets quite biblical in our sense of what the Bible is and the end of the world and so forth. In the first moments of it, the world disappears and you see that it need not be. So today, I want to bring that back to all of our experience, to remember that, and to stand fast with that, and to embody that, and to live that, and communicate that. Because I think the time for that is today. There is a God. There's an infinite expression of God called the universe. And it's ours. And those of us who are here of our own volition have, in a sense, volunteered to be here to present the one fact that we're discussing right now. And that is that the entirety of it need not be. In the scripture they said that there be pain no longer, that the mystery of God should be finished. There'll be no more tears and so forth. And that's the vision of great prophets of some thousands of years ago, but it's the same vision that all spiritual people have had. It's quite wonderful. It's quite healing. More than anything, it's quite you. It's yours. It's ours. So if we understand what the writers in the Holy Scripture were discussing, then we can bring that into our daily experience. Like my buddy Greg here, or Rob, they have a vision for their life, for their spiritual life, for everything. And so you get up in the morning and you live that out. And being that they have spirituality in their atmosphere, their vision works. And if some group of us jointly entertain this vision, understand it, and live it as being our mission, that one little aspect in the initial phase of spiritual experience can be grasped, then we can live that, we can inspire that, we can move that forward to the present day. Even though in truth there is no present day or time. And that's why this is so elusive. But the point has just been made, that it need not be. That there be time no longer. That the mystery of God should be finished. Meaning that we understand God, we live with God, and that we comprehend all the great spiritual writings that say the pain, the absurdity of it, the mediocrity of the everyday need not be. So if in your meditation you would write a few words from time to time, the early evening hours or whatever, and describe your own sense, because if you break that vision up into the first moments when you're sitting, like I was sitting in my living room 55 years ago in Philadelphia, and the world disappears. It took 5 months and it kept disappearing. And then all of a sudden, poof, the universe, everything anyone even thought God was, disappeared. And you're on the shoreline of infinity. There are no human words that could begin to express this, and excuse me for trying. But I know the words represent the truth. And the truth is yours, it's ours, it's God's. We're here for a reason. To end all the pain, all the trauma, all the mediocrity. Now, I am nobody, but I would not do this for one moment if that were not the end game. Although I'm nothing, and whatever God says I will do, but I live with that, and I know that God understands the validity of what's being said, and then I absolutely know that it will be done. We don't have to live like this anymore. There are basics in spirituality like there are with everything else in life. It's a discipline. And if you discipline yourself to not react to the everyday, if you understand this magical core of your heart called spiritual faith, faith in God, it's not a religious faith, not taking away from that. That's a stepping stone to God. The point is that this magical expression of the universe called faith, when you're involved in that, you're not worried about this circumstance or that. You're living beyond time, at the other end of time. And it's not off in the distance somewhere. You're there now. And that's another aspect, another side view of today's vision, and that is that none of it need be. And those of just to describe the question in everyone's mind right now is the fact that, yes, there is evil in the world, the craziness, cruelty. And the point is, that's the part, that's the illusion, that's the part that we allowed ourselves compassionately and empathetically as divine beings. We gave up our part of divinity to incarnate here, to that portal we call birth. And that we're on a certain trajectory to, first of all, understand what's here, why we're here. We know we're here out of compassion, and then we spend a lifetime or three trying to figure out what in the hell? This is a very devious place, isn't it? Very confusing, very compounding. And no matter how hard we try, someone lost a baby. I don't say this lightly. I've lived with this 25 hours a day, every moment of my life. Been near, around, everything. I understand what it is to pull bloated bodies out of a stream so you could put something in there and drink the water in an hour or two. The world is horrible. It doesn't matter that you have a good day, incidentally, here or there, and it doesn't matter you are the champion. There's champions here. It's in sports because we're in a gym. And the point is that there be pain no more. If you open your hearts, as all spiritual people have done from beginningless time, and you'll see a way out. And the way out is through this little doorway I'm describing today. And when you start thinking about this, you'll think of your own way out. And if we add a little edges to this little formula here, then we'll all together, arm in arm, heart to heart, find a way to end the entire tragedy forever. That's what illumination is. But because it's such a small part of the enormous vision, when everything blows up around you with this divine presence, this touch of God that we feel in illumination, it's touch like that, because the entirety of it is so enormous. Imagine how great a soul you are. You gave your part in that up to become this little bumbling mammalian creature in this earth that doesn't exist. But you accepted it out of compassion. Understand how great that is? That's who you are in your heart and your soul to God. So stop listening to all the disorientating facts and thoughts about the world and believe in this thing called faith. Think of the vision you had with your earliest experience of the divine. Write it down and live something different, something more, something greater. Don't be prohibited by the everyday craziness. We have all these spiritual experiences, and then we're at work, we're around a friend, or we're in the car, and everything inundates us in a way that's quite confounding, confusing, right? But if you stay with this vision, it's seemingly very incidental, because when you reawake to God in spiritual experience, spiritual illumination, nirvana, when you have these miraculous experiences that are not miraculous once you're awake, because that's all there is God. And in that there are dimensions and realms, such enormous presence and wonder and beauty and dignity and intelligence, and they're quite thoughtful in ways that are, you can't even, I don't have the words for, they're infinitely beyond everyday thought whatsoever. And so if you remember that that's the truth, that they are infinitely beyond, and then in your earliest vision, try to recapture that moment when you saw that, oh, this doesn't have to be. Every human being that ever had a spiritual experience has had this in the first moment, the first millisecond of their vision when the sky opens again. Please remember your moment. Write about it, think about it, dwell on it. Make it your mission in life to encompass it entirely, to live it, to breathe it. And bring forth with you those who, of like heart and manner, believe in the end of all tragedy, because they believe in your vision, because they believe in Him, because you are His vision. Stop worrying about money or things or places or love relationships. Treat everything with a certain touch of dignity that it'll disappear. And that's the same sense we have in the beginning of our spiritual experience. You're not attached to anything, right? This is all the classic literature of spirituality. And if we just add that, just a little inclusion here of that little incidental touch of the first moment of your divine reawakening, of seeing, oh, this need not be. This is not meant. I volunteered for this mission. So all you have to do is remember that you did that, and these words would seem so far out there to people who are without spiritual experience. And there are a few. Even the most horrible people in the world have felt God from time to time. You can't not. God's not hiding anything. And you won't hate, there won't be recriminations, you'll let it go. It's the whole idea of non-attachment, of Buddhism that moved around the world without a shot being fired, right? Not even a religion, a philosophy that step away from the whole thing and give it nothing, and you become everything. There is a God. You are His awakening in this world. You're like the battalion scout for the Army or for the Marines. You're the first person in to figure out what's going on because you're trusted. You know? Person they send in front, to the point person, is a target, but a trusted target because they know what they're doing. They're going to do the right thing in the right moment to protect those behind them, to attack in front of them. And you're God's battalion scout in this. It's got nothing to do with war, but you understand these are just metaphors for something so wonderful, so good. It's like when you first see your child. When he first saw his child, he knew his life was different. That was it. Doesn't matter what you think you're this, that. You're like, oh, I'm here to protect her. I don't have another reason. So I'll succeed for her. My point is, it doesn't have to be that hard and dealing with energies of the world. Have a child who's someone near you who you give birth into eternity, who you illuminate. I've done this all my life. I move to say these things. I wouldn't of my own. So I've done this with people all my life, and they have that touch of the divine, and you don't have to say another word. There is a God. There is an experience called illumination, nirvana, enlightenment. You're its expression. Please remember the first moments of that experience. Please write down your thoughts about the idea of today that we can jointly end the whole thing. And that's what illumination is. And that answers all questions that spiritual people have had from the very beginning. You have these wonderful saints that we read the lives about that in the end they were just trashed by the community, by whatever, or by a church that then buried them outside and called them saints and people come. The point is that every spiritual person in the world is a saint. And those that are very holy in our presence, watch their back. They're your child. They're your responsibility. More than anything, watch his back. God is the only victim in this. Imagine such a thought. God has no desire, it's not in God, to change anyone, to alter anyone's path in life, whatever, even though it's insane. And so it's up to us, collectively, who've had this vision, to make it our mission. To understand, just you read the revelation, this or that. Do it in your own thought. You say, this, knowing that God has nothing to do with pain or trauma or evil. If you know that, then you can use your disciplines. There are many disciplines. I learn how to listen to people. I can do healings. I'm talking for every spiritual person has these gifts that they develop over a lifetime to help others, to bring them along. And if we add this one little ingredient of first remembrance, that in the first instant of spiritual experience, we see that the world need not be, and that it's not, and that it's nothingness. So if you work on that, write about it a little bit, think about it a little bit, pray, study other thoughts about it, and you'll see how you can use your gifts to inspire this understanding in the hearts and souls and psyche of all those that you find near to you in your life. It's quite a wonderful undertaking. Because it's quite a wonderful you to have given yourself to this cause. This is why we are here. We're not here to just live another life and this one dies and your uncle and you're this and you have visions and you'll have all these things, but there'll be a reason to it that's locked and loaded to end all the evil, all the insanity. There's so much that people misconstrue about God that keeps the world going, and that's called temptation. So if we understand that none of it need be, because we are spiritual instruments of the divine, then it will not be. It doesn't have to be. There doesn't have to be pain and trauma and confusion, misunderstanding, misapprehension. There doesn't have to be death, illness, a sore tooth. It doesn't have to be. It's so unnecessary. It's not just the great evils of the world. If the whole world is the illusion, step back. It's every little incidental thing. As one who's lived this experience all their life, every little thing will try to stop you, to prevent you. And you'll be very, very happy early on because you'll see that everything being said is true. That this thing called evil is a mistaken consciousness. It need not be. This demonic force. It exists in and of people who do not know God. And people who know God are attacked more viciously than everyone else. Because this thing wants to keep existing, whatever it is. And again, in the first moment of spiritual experience, you see how incidental, what a nothingness the whole world is. You're experiencing God. Unimaginable wonder and goodness and peace and quiet and joy. It'll make you very kind, very delicate, very temperate, and very happy. And you have to hide that mostly, because people want to be serious about everything. So with that, you'll find ways to move beyond that, to communicate with people that are dead to God forever, without them knowing that you know. You see what I'm saying? So you can get to your day until you meet the next 10th person who is wonderful, and you can share this vision. And we get together on this, won't take much time at all, in time, because you'll be living beyond time with your mission. And thinking about it, what I call the teachers, the angels, will be with us all day, and you'll be rejoined with the great ones of old, the wise ones, the illumined. They're our friends. Can you believe that? All the great names you've known in spiritual history or world history, they'll be with you every moment. This has been with me since I was a child, always. It's just recently I admit it, but it's just every spiritual person experiences this. And your life is completely different in your consciousness than anyone else could imagine, because you are not lost and you're not found. You're simply living at the end of the vision, and just hoping and praying and needing for others to understand, and you work at it. And I think if we work at this in the way that's mentioned today, where we all jointly comprehend this vision we have in the very first millisecond of spiritual experience, that this thing is an illusion, that it need not be, that it has nothing to do with the larger part of God. And you are the larger part of God. Imagine that. That's your body, is infinite presence and wonder, and all these different dimensions. It's like unending waves. Like, imagine being in the ocean. I've spent many, many months in the North Atlantic and so forth. But imagine it just like all the waves, the slamming, the big giant waves and all are made of a golden happiness. But they're infinitely more powerful and present and exude more presence and beauty than the ocean. And it's infinitely more than that. Well, that's the beginning of the first touch of what people call heaven. There are many, many writings about it. Read them, be inspired, write them. We've all had them in different ways, and work out for yourself the idea that the edges and convolutions of time and circumstance, look through it with the eye of faith. And reawaken that first moment of your first truly divine vision, where the world really doesn't exist and doesn't have to. And you're just carrying this illusion on behalf of others because you were born here, and that's what they all have, the same disease, and that's, you had to test it with your finger, you put your finger in it, and it's diseased. Now you know that. Now you know that you're the cure. You're the doctor. You're the great doctor. You are Dr. God. It's not someone else. Don't look anywhere else. Don't even pray about it. Just be very quiet, like the Buddha. It's not a religion. It's an understanding, a wisdom, a grasping at something. Yes, it's holy and divine. And yes, it's you and natural and good. And yes, it's always been you. Isn't it you? Just reformulate everything in your thought and say that spirituality isn't about something I will be illumined or whatever, or certain people. It will be that you will overcome the entire world in your consciousness. And this will be the great transmission you'll transmit this understanding to all decent people in the world. And we can fold the whole thing up very shortly. And then there'll be pain no more. And God himself will live with us and walk with us and be with us. And there'll be no need for the light of the sun or of a candle, for God himself shall be the light herein. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for listening. Please understand.